Welcome back to CBS News 24/7. Okay, so this is a very important map to be watching in the coming hours. Now to the Middle East, where tensions are high right now over reports that Israel is ready to launch an operation against Iran. Multiple sources confirming to CBS News U.S. officials have been alerted, raising concerns that Tehran could retaliate on certain U.S. sites over in neighboring Iraq. Told you the map's important. So let's bring in CBS News Middle East reporter Courtney Kealy for more on this. We just heard President Trump touch on negotiations there. What more can you tell us?
Well, President Trump basically said an Israeli strike could, quote, blow the deal with the Iranians. We know there's a sixth round of talks in Oman, in Muscat, the capital there, on Sunday. Everyone's really white-knuckling it. Until then, there's a lot of scratching of heads. I've talked to former U.S. top military officials saying they're scratching their head about why drawing down the U.S. embassy in Baghdad. Baghdad is, and Iraq is a Shia-led government, a Shia majority, and friendly to Iran because it's Shia. And that fortress of an embassy will protect anybody who's in there. A much softer target, they say, would be Bahrain with the U.S. Fifth Fleet there, and also a government that's really a proxy and takes orders from Saudi Arabia and oppresses its Shia minority. But if Israel decides to unilaterally strike, that's the biggest problem. Iranians are worried about it. Top military officials are questioning whether that could happen. Trump's words today seem like he doesn't want that. And I've talked to top nuclear experts who have been in the room in these talks with Iranians in the past, and they say there could be a narrow kind of deal, a kind of framework deal where Iran makes a deal about enrichment, makes a promise on enrichment. The red line for the Iranians is no nuclear and no uranium enrichment. And we're not sure if President Trump has changed his position and disagrees with that, or that could be some kind of deal making on Sunday.
So we're aware that U.S. citizens are on high alert in that area. Some of them have been moved. Tell us about some of those moves and what they indicate at large about talks between the U.S. and Israel regarding what could be Israel's plans.
Well, U.S. officials have told CBS News that an Israeli strike could be prepared and could be imminent. So this is all precautionary measures. Often when something happens, the State Department will issue alerts, it will issue advice, and it will also remove its non-essential personnel, consular officials, people that the worker bees, people that help make the embassies run. But for instance, in Baghdad, there's no ambassador to withdraw, but the charge d'affaires, as far as I know, is still there. The top officials that negotiate and have all the diplomatic maneuvers are still there, and they are in one of the world's biggest fortresses. But this is really a red alert for civilians, Americans throughout the region, while we are at what looks like a brink. It looks like it's not necessarily a cliff, but we've seen the relationship between Trump and Netanyahu. The last time that they were meeting at the White House, sitting next together, President Trump said he was making an Iranian nuclear deal, while Prime Minister Netanyahu sat there looking very uncomfortable. Prime Minister Netanyahu has been in government off and on for as long as my career, which is quite lengthy. And we know that he can act in terms of the way he wants, because he's always made it clear that nuclear weaponry coming from Iran and Iran itself is an existential threat to Israel. So will cooler heads prevail? Like I said, it's white-knuckling it through it with domestic issues this weekend. We'll have to wait and see what happens on Sunday.
Courtney Kealy with that update, the headlines making us all feel like we need to put on a seatbelt. Thank you so much.